Welcome, folks. This is the Political Goat, and I'm your host, Uncle Felix. For all y'all those who don't know, Uncle Felix has been away for the past couple of weeks, and I'll tell you, I just just got my ass kicked by the COVID-19. I did not see that coming at all. Um, I had some rough symptoms. I had a really bad cough. The fatigue was unreal. The chills was probably the worst thing. Luckily though, I didn't have a fever, which was odd. I assumed because I had was getting the chills and was feeling that way that I was getting a fever. But every time my wife would take my temperature, I didn't have a fever. So thank God for that. But I am coming out of it. I'm not fully recovered yet. I think my quarantine date actually ends today. I do feel probably at about 85%. The only thing I have really lingering is this cough. But I had to come back and do a show. I couldn't go 3 weeks without doing the show. So thanks for being patient. Thanks for coming back. A lot of people ask me though, because I'm very outspoken about the whole COVID-19 issue and things like that. So a lot of people have asked me, has this changed your mind at all in regards to the whole COVID-19 thing? And my answer is no. I've always taken it seriously. Unfortunately, in today's uh, atmosphere of politics and stuff, you almost have to admit to being fearful of it for people to believe that you take it seriously, which is not the case. I've always taken it seriously. I've always tell people take the proper precautions, wear masks when you should. Um, you know, Follow protocol. I've always said that. What I've also said, don't live in fear. Know the facts. Know who this affects the most, and live life accordingly. Um, so no, I'm going to say no. It really hasn't changed my attitude towards it. All that being said, it is something to be taken seriously. And again, but live life accordingly. There's no reason to live in fear of this thing. I still think these shutdowns are ridiculous. They do more harm than good. So my my answer to you is no. My attitude about it has not changed. With all that being said, we're going to take a quick break, pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk a little bit of politics. And we're back. One of the things I wanted to talk about today is the vaccine issue, obviously, because now uh, I believe Moderna released their analysis today of their vaccine, and they had some very impressive numbers, showing, as a matter of fact, 95% effective rate between the people between the ages of 18 to 65. It drops down to 86% for people over the age of 65. As we all know, this thing really attacks the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions. So no surprises there. But there's a lot of people out there, and I poke fun at it myself. I even posted a video today, about the first person taking the vaccine. I poke fun at it. But I'll be honest with you, I'm going to take the vaccine once it's made available. I take the flu vaccine, so why wouldn't I take the COVID-19 vaccine? Um, you know, I think people being a little bit of paranoid. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't believe any of this stuff should be mandated. I think it is a matter of individual choice, and it should remain that way. But obviously, the best way for us to obtain herd immunity is through the vaccine, or obviously getting it naturally as a population. But you're talking about you want about 80% of the people to either get vaccinated or obtain the virus naturally. So obviously, the safest and the fastest way to do it would be through the vaccine. I think people should do that. Um, but again, it's up to you. I would never say anything should be mandated. This is the United States of America, and we're not built like that, and neither should we. Um, the other thing I want to talk about in the news is this whole Hunter Biden issue now, and the whole thing with Hunter Biden. It's it's very frustrating. For those of us who paid attention, obviously, right before the elections and all this information was coming out with about Hunter Biden and his the laptops and the connection to his dad. Taking money from all these foreign entities and things of that nature. It was very frustrating because the information was out there, the information was credible, and then we find out or we found out recently that actually the FBI he is under FBI investigation, and and that information was being withheld, rightfully so. I guess it's against the law for them to make that an investigation um, public in situations that we saw. So Barr did the right thing as much as he's catching for holding it or keeping it to himself. I guess that is the protocol in that situation. But it is frustrating because obviously we all seen what was going on, and we saw the media purposely uh, hold back. I mean, we all know what was going on with big tech. Uh, Facebook was limiting the people who would see the stories on Hunter Biden. Twitter outright, banned the whole thing. And they had to, come up in front of the Senate actually to answer some questions about it. So we basically saw, and this is something I could say we've never seen in the history of politics in the United States, and that's like the willful or the cooperation between mainstream media and a political party, and that's a dangerous thing. These are dangerous times that we are in, where the place where we're supposed to go for our source, for our media source, for our information, uh, can't be trusted. Um, and that's a shame. I do think that had a great effect on these elections here, um, and it's sad, but at the same time we can't use this time to take pity upon ourselves. We have to fight back. Um, as we all know, there's a huge races going on in Georgia with the Senate. As of right now, the Republicans hold a 50-48 advantage in the Senate, but there's two races there. So that means if the Democrats can somehow take those two seats, that would even out the Senate 50-50, and then that would make the vice president, and in this case, the incoming vice president Kamala Harris would be the deciding vote, which would then in turn mean that Harris and Biden ticket could run roughshod through Congress, pushing through their agenda, which is something we don't want to see. So we don't have time to take pity upon ourselves. Early voting has already started in Georgia, and from what I understand, is already like a record turnout. Um, Now, recent history shows us that the Republicans have been doing very well in these special elections. So hopefully that holds true. But we shall see. We shall see. Again, we can't be too frustrated with the situation. What I don't want to hear people say is that well, look what happened in the with the presidential election. Why should we go out? Um, you know, and of course, you don't have to do anything. But if you do want to fight for this country and fight for liberty, you have to fight every step of the way. You can't take a break. Long term solution. What we need to do is correct the wrongs that happen in the state legislators. Because as you know, if you've been following my show long enough, I talked about this during the summertime, how the Democrats were going into the courtrooms, and namely in Georgia, Philadelphia, all the places obviously where we had issues, and they were changing the rules. Yeah, like we saw in Pennsylvania, they did away with the signature requirements. They did away with all sorts of stuff, and it was for one purpose and one purpose only. And again, I called it months ago. This is exactly what the Democrat Party was seeking, was to take this thing, um, you know, past election day, and put it in the hands of the courts. And unfortunately, it's proven to be a successful formula for them. But we can't just sit back and I again feel bad for ourselves. We need to fight back, and we need to fight back in Georgia. Um, if you don't live in Georgia and you can't vote in Georgia, uh, donate some money. Find a way. Spread the word. Change some minds down there. Get people out there to vote, because this is a very, very um, important election coming up. Um, that being said, I want to come back. We're going to talk some football, and we'll be back right after this. And welcome back, folks. Well, it's that time of the week where I bring to you Uncle Felix's Power Five. And with great regret, it's been a while, but I don't think my Steelers are going to be sitting atop the atop of the NFL Power Five this week. Um, but I wasn't too harsh on them now, and I'll we'll go into why. But here we go. Without further ado, here's my NFL Power Five. There it is, folks. Looks like KC ascends to the number one position. That's where they were at the beginning of the season. I mean, Mahomes has just been a monster throughout. Hands down, in my opinion, this year's MVP so far. We only have a few games left. I think it's his for the taking. The Chiefs sit at 12-1. That being said, they didn't look too impressive against the Dolphins. Tua's looking good, for a young guy. He looks very poised. He looks like the real deal. So the future in Miami, excuse me, looks pretty good. But Mahomes, he did throw 3 picks. By far not his best game. Kelsey was a beast. He had 8 receptions, 136 yards, and a touchdown. Just a beast as usual. My number 2, I'm gonna keep my Steelers right there. And the reason I'm gonna do that, I know people are gonna get on me. Hey, come on, Felix. They lost 2 in a row. How are you gonna do that? They've also had a crazy schedule. So I don't feel like they've had ample time to work on their issues, which they are going to have this week here. They will get a full week off. They have just what the doctor ordered coming up in the Bungles. So, uh, they'll have time to implement a new game plan, because they have to do something with that offense. That offense is too predictable right now. Um, and the defense can only do so much. Uh, so we're going to keep an eye on my Steelers there, but I'm going to hold them there at 11-2, at the number 2 spot. Number 3, I'm going to move up those Buffalo Bills. They look good. They looked impressive. Josh Allen, they started off pretty slow, and right up until that pick 6. Steelers looked like they were in total control of the game. That being said, the score was only 7-0. Again, because the offensive woes of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is a shame, because if I guarantee if they go up even 10-14-0 at that point, that game's a whole different story. But that pick 6 by Buffalo turned things around. Kudos to Buffalo. Defense looked good there. My number 4, I'm gonna go with the Saints. Again, Saints coming off a loss. How you gonna how you gonna keep them that high, Felix? And the reason being, everybody deserves a hiccup. I mean, they don't even have Drew Brees back yet. Hill's done more than a great job of keeping them afloat, and I can only imagine what this offense is going to look like when Drew Brees gets back. That being said, they might actually take a step back a little bit because he's been gone for so long. So it's going to take them a little while to get used to Drew Brees when he does come back and takes over the controls. My number five, Green Bay. I mean, they're sitting at 10-3. That offense has been a model of consistency all year. Aaron Rodgers threw another 3 touchdowns. Adams had another 115-yard receiving game, added another touchdown. I mean, they've been looking tough all year. My honorable mentions, I'm going to go with Seattle Seahawks sitting at 9-4, and also the Tennessee Titans also sitting at 9-4. Um,